Single-use plastics such as plates and cutlery, as well as polystyrene cups, could all be banned in England under new plans being considered by the government. It's estimated only 10% of such items are currently recycled. Well, let's take you through the scale of the problem. According to estimates, in England alone, we get through 1.1 billion single-use plates every year. In addition to that, 4.25 billion single-use pieces of cutlery, the vast majority of which are plastic, are also used. Disposable coffee cups have been a long-standing issue, and the UK as a whole throws away 2.5 billion of those every year. Well, we can talk now to Professor Rashid Gatrad, OBE. He's a consultant paediatrician in Walsall and also a member of the Climate Change Committee for the Royal College of Paediatricians, as well as being the founder of World Against Single-Use Plastics. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So those were the stats for England alone. What's the picture worldwide?
I think if you look at it worldwide, whilst you've been on the air, just a minute or so, you would have realized that there are 1 million plastic bottles thrown away. So every minute, 1 million plastic bottles are thrown away, as indeed are plastic bags, which again are a scourge of plastic right throughout the oceans, which kill a lot of not only marine animals, but eventually will come to haunt us as human beings.
And we're talking here about the government looking at banning certain single-use plastic items. How important is government action versus what people are doing themselves as they become more aware of the issues?
I think obviously everything starts at home. So once you start recycling the recyclables, and I feel the government should be stricter with the corporates to make sure that they accurately label what is recyclable and what isn't. And also there should be, throughout our country, there should also be uniform colors of what goes into a recycling bin and what doesn't. Because at the moment there's confusion. Each area has got its own colors of bins. So that should happen. But worldwide, 80% plus countries do not actually have a waste collecting system. So that's something else that they would need support on, because we ourselves will do our bit. But I think this is a global issue, as indeed is climate change.
When we look at alternatives to plastic and things that cannot be recycled, and other materials get used for single-use items, are there sort of unforeseen consequences potentially arising from that in terms of the materials that are used, what is used to source those materials, and any other potential impacts?
I think the important thing, it goes back to industry, where designing of material is important, because once designed in a way where least amount of plastic or no plastic is used. So first of all, it's got to go to the roots. But having said that, there are some plastics, and there are plastic symbols. There are 7 types of plastic symbols, as you probably know. Some plastics are easier to recycle and others are not. And what we do at WASUP is we collect plastic that is more difficult to recycle, such as the one in spectacles. And we call this project, Let Us Make a Spectacle Project, where a lot of the Miss England finalists last year joined me in collecting these from various opticians, and we send it to various other countries. So reusing plastic is also very important, apart from recycling it, which also is important. And obviously bioplastics is on the horizon, but expensive, so that will be an alternative to normal plastic that we're using at the moment.
It's a relatively recent addiction, isn't it, the use of throwaway items? Not so long ago, people might have gone around with cutlery, carrying cutlery, cups, would reuse bottles, would take bottles back to shops for being reused. What about going back to that? That would take a huge. That would be a huge shift.
I think that's something seriously we have to think of, because our planet is in trouble from various angles. And I think you may well have heard of, viewers may have heard of, the 9 planetary health boundaries, and we have exceeded a few of them already. So I think really overall, our concept should be such that we should be perhaps going back, I mean, as a medical person, going back to glass syringes. What's wrong with them? So we could actually have those sterilized rather than using millions of plastic syringes that were thrown away, and because they're contaminated with body fluids, they have to be incinerated. So yes, we've got to go back to to glass bottles for milk, for example. So we've got to go back a little bit. What about babies' nappies, which are a big problem because they cannot be recycled that easily? Might have to go back to Terry's nappies. So those are the things we, as human beings, have got to think, because we are in trouble. And plastic that has been produced, 50% of it that's present has been in the last 20 years. So if we leave things as they are, by 2050, there'll be more plastic in the oceans than there'll be fish. And in terms of the greenhouse gases that are produced, there will be 15% greenhouse gases released from the production of plastic. So plastic itself, in an indirect way, is hugely dangerous.
Professor Rashid Gatrad, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.